Warning. This podcast has been labeled as vile, dangerous, and toxic. Listener discretion is advised.
Limit. Break. A radiance rejoining. And now, here's your host, Nero Grigori.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio! Man, it feels fucking good to do that again. We're back in the saddle one more time. We ride once more. Welcome to Limit Break Radio. A radiant rejoining. Yes, that's right. We are back for the moment. It's a reunion episode. What's going on, guys? It's Nero here, and it's exciting to be back with all of you again. Man, I didn't think this day would come. Joining me today, I've got the remaining LBR crew. Nika Kyanian. Hi? You gonna say anything?
That's your cue, Nika.
Classic Nika. Hi, Juxta.
Hello. How's it going?
How are you?
I'm here, I guess.
Well, I hope so. It wouldn't be Limit Break Radio if it didn't have problems right off the bat. How you doing, man? I feel like it's been a long time since we have talked.
It's been good, I guess. I mean, I've just been really, really enjoying my time in Final Fantasy XIV as of late.
Does that mean not being in Final Fantasy XIV?
Not being in it, not thinking about it, just not even considering it. And then I guess there was like some kind of FanFest announcement type thing, COVID style. So I guess I'm here now.
Well, you are here, and of course, this show has to be done COVID style as well. And I do so miss your presence here in the studio. Enough that I've even brought along a special friend.
That's your penis.
Hey,
the drop board.
It's the old drop board
Or cock.
Yeah, one of the two. Anyway, so let's see if she's back, if she can hear us, if she can respond.
I wasn't not here.
What?
My Discord sound suddenly decided to stop, and I was like, man, this intro's so long. I didn't remember it being this long. When are they going to start talking?
Well,
and then I realized I looked at Discord, and you guys were lighting up, and I couldn't hear you, so I left and I came back, and now it's fixed. I'm here. Hi.
Well,
never changed.
Yeah, it may have been folly on my part for you to be the first person that I threw to, because of course no one was there. Nika, how are you?
I am good. I mean,
you don't sound confident.
No, I am. This year has been a lot for a lot of people, and so I mean, I feel like I'm just surviving one day at a time at this point. So.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, it's nice to be back in Eorzea, which, by the way, let's kick it on over to our Eorzean studios. Oh, look at this. Some animation on the transition. Ooh, looking good. Anyway, so, yeah, it's...
Oh, that was cool.
Right? Is it? I spent a lot of time on that. Anyway, so...
It hasn't changed a bit.
You didn't see the animation when it changed? It was cool.
Oh, there was an animation. I was actually just looking at my headphones, but
oh yeah, some things change and some things stay the same.
Welcome back, Nero.
Yeah, listen, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be doing the show one more time. It's like I definitely missed doing specifically this show, right? Because in the time away, I did another show, and in that time, I didn't really get to stretch my wings. I didn't really get to, be a Nero, so to speak. So it's nice to sort of step back into the role one more time. And it's nice to have all of you here along with us as well over at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. We will get into what is happening with the show, what is happening with the website. We're going to get into all of that eventually. But before we get into that, I've got to introduce our third host here. Fourth host. Yeah. Strife, what's going on, man?
Hey, man. Glad to be here.
Thanks for making time and hanging out with us this evening. Got a lot to talk about, and you know what? I appreciate you hanging out with me on the reveal stream the other night. It was certainly a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That was really fun, man. Glad you asked me to come along.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, hold on.
What?
I think because that you were removed from host status, you have to start fresh with like a new seniority thing. So,
you're the new intern?
I'm the first host. Nika's second. Stripe is third. That makes you bottom rung there, buddy.
You're fired.
No, I don't. That's not how this works.
It might. I think it does.
I don't know. I've been the one that has been leading the show since it started.
Hang on, what makes you the first host? I was the one who did all the editing in the last.
How about
the
host goes to whoever plays 14 the most? Let's try to figure that one out.
Actually, that would technically be me right now.
Yeah, I think that's a Nero right now, actually.
See.
There you go. Problem solved.
And that would put me at number 2, I think.
You play more than me?
I think I might.
Or cock.
I don't know.
This is classic.
I play like once a month, probably.
Hilariously derailing one-liner.
It's like Juxta never left the studio.
It's weird.
No.
That Juxtabot's really working out for us.
Right?
Good investment.
Hits a random drop every 30 seconds.
I actually have people in our in-game studio. This feels so good, guys.
It is. It is nice. Let's go ahead and spin the camera around and.
We got some people dancing as always.
Got a couple of people dancing and hanging out in the crowd. We also got a couple of people dancing in the fish tanks as well. That's always nice. It's a little weird, but that's okay.
You didn't put them there? I thought that was part of the
part of the atmosphere.
Absolutely did not. No.
Well, that's awkward.
Anyway, so listen, we got a lot.
Excuse me, I'm not in the studio. You said you're going to Photoshop me in.
Right. Yes. You know what? Let me take care of that right now. I'll go ahead and just Photoshop you in. Thank you, Sevo Kevo, for the resub. It's weird because we now have the alerts up. I forgot to turn the audio on those off. So. That's gonna be a thing. So anyway, let's get Juxta all photoshopped in here. There we go. All right. Oh, he's a little bit big. Let's make you a little bit smaller here. There we go. There we go. I think that works, right? There we go. Old man Juxta.
I remember him.
That's perfect.
Excuse me, I believe I'm missing my red mage hat.
God damn it! I don't have a red mage hat that I can just. I don't have that ready to go. What is wrong with you?
Or have a very revealing dancer outfit for Bernie.
For someone who couldn't make the time to be in the studio, you are quite demanding.
Oh hell, I am not paying $15 to be in here for one show.
It's $12.95, sir.
None of this was funny.
Not if you pay retainer.
All right.
No.
So let's go ahead and start off. I think a good place to start, considering that we haven't done a show in 2 years. I think a good place to start is actually with a segment that we dropped from FF14 Limit Break Radio altogether, personal updates. Yeah. So let's go ahead and start with Juxta. Juxta,
fuck.
What have you been doing?
Aside from diddling myself, I mean,
Jesus.
gosh. Okay, well, let's see. I can just cheat and read the outline here. Did I play Shadowbringers? I did. I played when it came out. I got max level Dancer. That was fun. That was this expansion.
What did you end up thinking of Dancer? Did you like the job?
It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
And I read that it did shit DPS. I'm like, well, I'm just give up then.
Well, I mean, fair enough. But what did you? So did you play through all of the subsequent patches, or just through 5.0?
Just 5.0.
Just 5.0. I mean, that's kind of interesting, mostly because I think the story actually gets better after that point. So what were your thoughts on Shadowbringers? I mean,
really good.
Obviously not good enough to come back and finish all the patch content.
Well, I mean, what I'm probably going to do is wait until the 0.55 patch, so I can just do all of it at once, content all at once, and then be caught up for the expansion. Then do the expansion 0.0 stuff, and then stop subbing for 3 years again.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably fair. That's probably fair.
I mean, the story and the dungeons and stuff are good the first time you do it, which
Sure.
I'll give it that. So I'll do it once, and then I can only have to be subbed for once for 1 month.
Can I be honest with you? The thing that I've found that's been interesting for me in terms of content, running dungeons just gets boring after the second week, right? So Bazzoja has actually been really interesting for me this go round. And
so tight.
I've ignored that content completely.
You know what? It's good casual content with
Is it more fun than what was it, Eureka?
Yeah. It's definitely more fun. I would say it's definitely more fun than Eureka.
I only did the tutorial, and I already know it's more fun than Eureka.
Yeah. Listen, for what it's worth, and you guys know that my outlook on FF14 was as low as it could possibly be when at the point that I left. I was like, I can't wait to not think about this game. And since coming back, and I'll admit the reason that I came back was I knew the majority of people who would want to watch me stream would probably want to watch me play through Shadowbringers and at least hear what I thought about it. And by the time I got to the end of the 5.3 content, I was like, wow, I'm actually really kind of into this again. To be honest, it won back a measure of giving Square Enix the benefit of the doubt, because they really paid off so many plot points and so many story beats that we personally complained about on this very show. They paid those off in kind of a really cool, satisfying way that, I got to give it to them. I think that they did an excellent job.
I mean, it finally felt like a Final Fantasy game again.
It did, yeah. The Stormblood, I don't know what they were doing with Stormblood. I don't know.
Forgot what it was doing.
I think Stormblood, that split storyline could have been done well, and they just dropped the ball there. And then the patch content for Stormblood also wasn't that cohesive. It wasn't obvious what they were trying to do, and it kind of fell apart.
Yeah, I totally agree. But they really pulled it together with Shadowbringers. So, for anyone that's skeptical or quit the game around the time that I did, and it's like, I just don't know. Play through the story. That's not that much of a commitment, right? That's and I think Juxta's actually got the right idea here. Subscribe at 5.55, blow through all of the content, and then see how you feel for 6.0 coming up. because I honestly think that they have done a really dynamite job, especially with the story. So finally, Juxta, what's been going on in your personal life? What have you been doing instead of playing FF14?
Oh God.
And diddling yourself.
Diddling myself, yeah, lots of that. Geez, I've been I own a house now. Like I have mortgage payments. I did the most adult thing I know, which is cash in my 401k and buy lots of GameStop stock for that. Geez.
How much are you up?
Let's see. I'm up like negative $300 or something.
Oh, that's not good.
Diamond hands, bro.
Diamond hands, hold the line. Rocket, 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 moon, 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 rocket. Hold the line.
To the moon. Which,
to the moon.
Yeah, we will be getting to that.
I'm coming.
Also, like, I had surgery on my feet for warts, so I was out of commission for like 2 weeks.
Ooh,
that was fun.
That's not information anyone needed to know. Ever.
I feel you though. No, I had plantar warts in high school and they were the worst. Thankfully, I just got to like freeze them off. I didn't need surgery, but gosh, they sucked.
And no, like
I feel you.
There's like a big, like giant open wound on like my foot where the warts were. It was like a quarter size,
Okay.
and then like
wow. Okay, yeah, no.
Miscellaneous ones. It was really bad.
We just went from 111 viewers to 106. You're making people throw up.
Got him. Also, my girls, Fairbear and Bert, they had a bunch of surgeries and stuff. It's been really, really interesting.
Man, that's intense, dude. Everything okay though? Like everyone?
Oh, yeah, they're all good.
Everyone's good.
Bert had her surgery like last year to get like tubes put into her ears, and then this year, like on Monday, she had to get surgery to get the tubes taken out because apparently they're supposed to fall out after like 6 to 10 months. So yeah.
Well, glad to hear that everyone is good and doing well.
Also I got engaged to Fairbear, so I have a ring.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
The wedding was going to be in May, but COVID,
yeah.
So that's not happening.
Oh, I was gonna ask.
Well, congratulations, man. That's a whole lot of life shit to cram into 1-2 year period.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I've been playing card games.
It's amazing what you can get done when you're not playing Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, when I have 2 days of excuse me, 2 days off every week, it actually is really, really nice, and you fit a lot of shit in there.
Well, congratulations, man. I'm glad to hear that you're doing real well. Nika, same round of questions. How did you play Shadowbringers? How far did you get?
Yeah, I played up until I had my real baby. No more fake babies. So yeah, I'm trying to think. The last time we did an episode was right before Shadowbringers, right? So I was playing. I did the first, two. Trying to remember. I was still raiding and everything right up until I had the baby. So it was like, I did the first raid tier, and I was still playing like raiding every week with my group, and then the baby was born, and I still played for about a month or so, like not really raiding, but like playing.
Yeah.
And then after that, I couldn't find time to play anymore. So.
Oh wow.
It's real hard once babies stop sleeping all day to do anything other than baby.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured as much. That's why I've never had one.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, so did you play to the end of at least the story content?
Yeah, so I still log on every patch day and do the story. I think I did a recent story with you on this. You
did. That's right. And you can find that over at our YouTube channel, by the way.
Yeah, so I, like Strife was saying, I felt, especially at the end of 5.0, like that whole ending sequence when you're fighting, like when you go up against Emmett Selk and it's like this big badass cutscene. And I remember thinking, oh my God. And then you watch your character walk forward and I'm like, this is a Final Fantasy game.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. I was so excited.
That was one of the really big moments. And then I think the other one was with Elidibus. And it was sort of like an inverse of that moment, right? Where Final Fantasy is known for two big things, right? These huge, epic, confrontations with God, celestial sort of like epicness, right? And then the other side of it is this, very heartfelt, emotional realness that exists in the Final Fantasy series, and you got that with Elidibus, and that was one of my favorite moments in all of FF14.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they went really dark this time around, which I felt was just something that this game needed, because after they like kill characters who don't actually die and they kind of pussied out of all of that, I feel like they really needed to go a little darker. So like finding out people are getting turned into creatures that get turned into food and then fed back to the people, I was like, all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything about Vothri was pretty horrific.
I was like, I'm down for this story.
Yeah.
So edgy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not. I don't know about edgy, but like, I think
so anime.
It had something to say. I would say that Shadowbringers is probably the least anime outside of the Gundam fucking side quest thing. Is probably the least anime out of all of the FF14 expansions, at least in my opinion. So, all right, what was your thought on Shadowbringers content? Like, obviously the baby is like kind of the biggest limiting factor in there.
Absolutely. So, I mean, my deal is like, I mean, we've always had this criticism on LBR. They really haven't added anything. Like, I'm always going to say, like, I love my raids. I do them Tuesday and Thursday. Give me something to do Monday and Wednesday. And they still have not given me like another content that's like legit, right? So I'm still waiting for that, like, because I mean, when I look back at FF11, I can think of 10 different endgame contents. I had different link shells. Like every day of the week, I was doing a different endgame content that progressed my character at the endgame level. And looking at this game, there's literally one.
Yeah.
So like, again, the content itself hasn't changed. However, I do feel that the bosses and the story behind them is much more interesting. Like I cared way more about like Reen and Gaia than I cared about like the random boy from Alexander that like, oh, some people from the past who had a love story we don't care about at all. Like I cared way more about Eden's story, but I still haven't done the most recent Eden. But anyway, yeah, I just feel like the content as a whole, the storytelling and the pacing was much better. So I commend, like, as an expansion, Shadowbringers was 1,000,000% the best one, but it still doesn't have like the variety of content I'm looking for to really want to like dive back into an MMO again.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, especially because I am playing FF11 kind of in tandem. And
sorry.
No, honestly, like it's fun. It's a nice kind of throwback, but like there's still a bajillion different things to do in that game, even though they've done stuff like raise the level cap and add content. And it's actually insane how much content still exists in FF11 and is still relevant. Outside of the baby stuff, any personal life notes that you want to share?
Yeah, any notes removed?
No, I mean there hasn't really been too much. Like I'm just trying to figure out how people play MMOs and games with babies. Like it was easy enough when she like slept all the time, and then even when she was still like less mobile. But now that she's like 1 and she's all over the house at any given moment, literally every single second is like being on suicide watch and trying to make sure they're not killing themselves. So it's like it's so hard sometimes. I try to sit down and like even play Animal Crossing, which is pretty casual, which I can sort of do when she's around. But then I turn my head and she's like in the other room eating something in a cabinet. And I'm like, how did you get there?
Again, well, and again, that comes down to, a difference in game philosophy. When it comes to a game like FF14, if you're doing something, the game demands that you need to be focused on that thing the entire time that you're doing it. So
I really want to get back into
challenging.
rating at 6.0 as long as I can get like, because I did actually take this whole year off so that I wouldn't have to worry about dealing with online teaching with a baby, and also like them throwing us back into the classroom in the middle of February when the numbers are higher than ever, which is what they're doing in like 2 weeks. So I'm actually not working this year. I'm just momming. So back in coming this August, I'm going back to work. So then I'm hopefully like once, going to bed earlier and all that stuff, I'll be able to raid again. But
yeah, I mean, what most people I've seen do to handle that for raiding is they just have their significant other watch the kid for those 2 to 3 hours or whatever your schedule is.
Yeah, Cern's not going to do that because he thinks this game is dumb.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
He's like, I'm not going to watch it for 3 hours so you could raid. You should quit that game. You barely play it.
He's not wrong. So, all right. Well,
the best way to handle the baby problem is just don't care anymore and let them do whatever they want.
No.
Eventually they learn or they don't, and the problem
they
solves
choke
itself.
and they die when I'm not paying
Yeah, it solves itself.
Interesting inverse in parenting strategies.
yeah, you come to Limit Break Radio for the FF14 discussion. Stay for the parenting tips.
Hey, when pandemic's over, Juxta, we need our babies to have a play date.
Okay, come here.
I will eventually when the pandemic's over. Because my family lives there, So.
Actually, I don't know if you know or not, but ever since Biden hit the office, the pandemic's been over, so you can come whenever you want.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I forgot that it was just election propaganda.
How nice is that, right? Like it's great that it just disappeared overnight. No variants or anything. So Strife, have you been keeping up with Shadowbringers?
Yeah. Every patch I've done the MSQ, the normal raid, the 24-man if it's been out, and a lot of the side stuff. I think the only thing I haven't really caught up with all the way is some of the extreme and savage modes I have not been up to date with.
Well, who could blame you?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention the 24-mans. I love Nier, so I'm actually loving them very, very much.
I still haven't done them. That's the one piece of content that I refuse to fucking touch.
Oh, why?
It's quite good. It's quite good.
I don't like Nier.
What?
Nier is stupid in anime.
I have.
What? It's like my favorite game of all time.
I played Nier and I got to the fishing side quest and I said, fuck this game. I'm never playing it again.
The only time you ever have to fish.
As someone who's never played Nier, the story content's been pretty decent. It's been intriguing, and I like that Yoko Taro made them put story content in the patches in between when the 24-man comes out. So like every patch there was a little continuation of that storyline, which has been nice.
Oh, is there one from this recent one too? Because don't think I did it.
Yeah, a very short one, but it's very good. And it's I know, again, as someone who's never played Nier, it's intriguing. It does feel like it doesn't really belong sometimes, but
I really like a little bit of a side topic to this is I really think Yoko Taro leading a Final Fantasy game would be amazing. Like an entire number, like if Yoko Taro did Final Fantasy 17 or something, I would be totally down for that.
That's called a Star Ocean game. It's science fiction at that point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go tell Suikoden that Nier is your favorite series, Nika.
I mean, go for it, I guess. Oh, I finally played the Suikoden game I was avoiding my whole life. Which was Suikoden 4 because it's boat travel.
And how did that go?
I mean, it was better than my lowest expectation, but
that's high praise.
Yeah, that's a low bar to clear. Strife. So let's talk a minute because we had talked the other night about endgame organization and the way that FF14 handles content versus other MMOs. Again, make sure to check that out over at our YouTube channel. But let's talk about the way that FF14 has done and is doing vertical progression, because it literally has been a copy and paste ever since A Realm Reborn. And I've said, for a long time, especially when I was getting shit on, back in the days of this show, where people were going like, you don't raid, so you can't comment on whether or not the rating is good or not. And it's like, well, after you notice the first time that all your hard work got thrown out the window 6 months after you did the fucking content, and as soon as the next piece of content came out, why would I knowingly put myself on that gear treadmill again when I know that it's just going to go all the way the fuck out the window? And by the way, there's no other content to challenge with that gear. So let's talk about the way that FF14 is doing vertical content. It has not changed in Shadowbringers. Does not look like it's going to change in Endwalker. What do you think about it? What do you think Square Enix could do to address it?
So, yeah, at the crux of the matter, I do want to say I will always defend vertical progression. However, Square handles this very poorly to the point where it makes it look so much worse than it really is. And some of the ways that occurs is right now, and I say right now, but pretty much since, to your point, since either ARR or Heaven's Ward, I think Heaven's Ward's when they really solidified it, but they've been doing the same thing, copy paste, right? So one of the biggest issues we've had is it's either you cap your tomes every week to get a piece of gear, or there's 4 bosses that you can obtain loot from, and that's it for the best gear in the game. This is an issue in a couple ways. On one hand, the boss difficulty pattern, there's 2 bosses that are roughly on the same difficulty, and then another 2 that are harder. There's no real linear progression path, so that feeling of I'm obtaining this gear to challenge the harder content is kind of lost there, and that kind of deflates you even further from wanting to obtain gear and challenge the content in that time window where it's relevant. And then the second issue is that the lack of, this is the biggest issue, the lack of other content in the game where gear matters. They've literally designed it so that the only thing that's relevant, this gear is relevant for, is the newest dungeon and these 4 bosses that you do the raid with. And until they either increase the number of bosses or add additional content where your gear matters, this vertical progression system is always going to feel just stupid, because I don't know what
I think Square Enix thinks they fixed it by putting ultimates, which doesn't solve the problem.
Well, so hold on. So ultimates, that's a good point. Ultimates is a great step in the right direction, but not enough and poorly implemented, because the problem with the ultimate fights is, one, while they're very cool, they're a little bit recycled, and not everyone's going to be jazzed about that. And number 2, they don't award anything but prestige. It would have been nice to see them reward some level of power gain as well, to make future clears of that content a little easier.
Don't you get weapons from them?
Yeah, but they're equivalent to the highest level Savage weapon or relic. So
I thought they were 5 eye levels higher.
Last I checked, they were roughly equivalent to whatever the best weapon was at the time.
Remember?
Yeah, so either way, it's the problem with it is it's purely prestige, but that's still a good thing. You still want some sort of prestige content in your game. However, they can't even keep a cycle where they have more than, how many did they have in Shadowbringers so far? 1 or 2? Does anyone know? Either way, like I know the next one they were going to have just got canceled, not canceled, postponed. The one that they were supposed to release in April is now being pushed back all the way to the expansion to 6.0.
Yeah,
which was going to be the Dragon Song War. So again, this content is really cool. It's a good step in the right direction, but it's hurt a little bit by being only prestige, by being recycled, and by having the ladder to get there is too small. 4 raid bosses in a week is too small of a ladder to find meaning in it. Those vertical progression systems matter when you can spend 4 to 6 months climbing them and feel like you and the community are in on it together climbing this ladder.
Yeah.
When it's just like, I bang out 2 bosses week 1. It's a joke. After 2 to 3 weeks of capping my weekly tomes, which is so exciting, then all of a sudden I'm OP, and now I bang out boss 3 and 4, and it's easy, and now I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah,
it's too short of a path.
That's actually the hot talking point from last night's live letter, is that that content got moved back to I believe 6.1, and so a lot of people are really disappointed about it and think that this is a big mistake. Again, we are living with COVID, so I think it's
right.
You got to keep your expectations reasonable, and I don't know that it's entirely reasonable to say, do an entire expansion and do the work behind Ultimate all at the same time. So it's either it's either we get Endwalker in spring, winter, maybe maybe this time next year in 2022. 2, which I think a lot of people would be really disappointed about, or with the decision that they've gone with, and that's to delay that content until 6.1. By the way, I do want to remind you guys, you can call in the show. We do have a method for you to call in. It's through our Discord. You can just type !Discord in the chat, and you'll be provided with a link to the Discord. And right now, I want to invite in one of our callers, Nutella Waffles. What's going on, Nutella? Welcome to Limit Break Radio.
It has been too long since I've actually called into Limit Break Radio. Nero, I called in to your thing the other day before the announcement showcase, and that was really cool. Kind of a good little callback. But now here we are again. Congratulations on bringing it back. Welcome back, Nika. Welcome, Strife. I guess Juxta's here too. So, hello.
Oof. Ouch.
Wow. All right. Okay. So we're a bit limited on time. So Mr. Waffles, if you would, let's get straight to the meat of the matter.
Well, it's funny you were just talking about Ultimate. That's actually one of the things I wanted to say. Highly disappointed. They said they were back on schedule. So either they kind of bullshitted that, or they bullshitted saying they were having 2 Ultimates. Either way, it's a disappointment. I'm just going to move on from it. Nothing to really think about there. What I really want to talk about, because we were talking about this, like I said, a couple days ago, was Sage. This is going to be not the game changer people are thinking about. Calling it now, it's just going to be a copy paste of Scholar. It's going to have bare minimum utility, and Astro's skill going to be right on top of where the fuck it was.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nutella Waffles, for the call. Great to hear from you, as always. And, of course, we'll get a little bit deeper into all of the Endwalker discussion and news. But, yeah, there's a little bit of the other side of, someone who is disappointed about the announcement of Ultimate being postponed until 6.1. Thanks again for the call. Appreciate it. If you want to call in, !Discord in the chat will get you with a link. Hop into the On Hold channel, and our good buddy Lloyd will be able to hang out with you and help you get ready to be put on air. And by the way, guys, I know that there's going to be a lot of people who, are like, hey, it's nice that you're back and it's great to hear from you again and all of that. Like, we have a very limited time window here and a lot to get through. So let's try to get through the calls quickly as we can. All right. So let's move on now to the big revelation, the big announcement last night. Endwalker.
Whoa, hold on.
What?
A Nero
what?
Personal update?
What do you want from me?
You.
Well, let's see.
To be fair, like the last episodes, you weren't even on them, so it's been a long time since anyone's heard from you.
Yeah, that's very true. I spent a while hosting Checkpoint, and then around this time last year, well, actually around April last year, unfortunately getting laid off from Checkpoint. And if you're wondering why, Kahlo and Escalia are not a part of this broadcast, it's because they're still with Checkpoint, and obviously they have non-competes. So hope that they're doing well. Still talk to them all the time. But yeah, since then I've been working at a public radio station here in Detroit, working from home, which is a new adjustment. Yeah, it's, I'm not going to lie. It's been difficult. It's been a difficult year, coming up on, it's weird when you spend so much time and so much of your effort, poured into a project, and then overnight it's just gone. It just disappears. It evaporates into nothing. And so that was a really big adjustment for me that I think I'm still trying to make. It definitely, has been a struggle, but fortunately, we've had some COVID relief and a part-time job. has been my saving grace. Also, the generosity of the Twitch audience that does come and hang out with me when I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays now, and Saturdays. So make sure to put that on your calendar if that's something that's interesting to you. But man, yeah, 2020 was a tough year, man. It sucked. It definitely sucked. And we'll talk about what the future might hold for Limit Break Radio and my involvement in it a little bit later on in the show. But thank you guys for asking. I appreciate it. Yeah, it sucked. It's been shitty. It's not been fun.
I don't think anyone's had a good 2020, though, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, he seems to be doing pretty okay. But no, I wish everyone who's still involved with Checkpoint well, and hope that they do well. And it's cool to see, something that I worked really hard on and, kind of breathed into existence, still continue on without me. That's a nice feeling, to know that it didn't grind to a halt. It was a little bit of the same feeling that I got watching your guys' shows and podcasts after I stopped doing Limit Break Radio. So again, a weird adjustment, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna bemoan your fate in life, or are you gonna try to move forward? So yeah, my time since doing Checkpoint has been filled with coming up with pitches, making pitches, and so far no one biting. So that's always fun and encouraging. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me. All right, let's turn our attention now to the big reveal, the big announcement from yesterday. Of course, FanFest, again, one of the many casualties of 2020 and of COVID. And so instead, we get a pair of digital FanFests, digital announcements. And so that's what we got last night, starting with the announcement that everyone knew was going to be coming. It was inevitable. The new expansion, Endwalkers. So why don't we go ahead and actually take a look at that trailer right here. I have to admit, I rolled my eyes when the first thing that we saw was the moon.
Oh, come on.
It used to be such a big joke that we would ever go to the moon, but here we are.
Guardian Space Station
On the moon. We might not be that far off, though, honestly.
I gotta be honest, I didn't think they were gonna do it.
I mean, I didn't really take it seriously either.
I didn't think they'd make a theme out of it. You know what I mean? We know the Asians are there, but whatever. That's their other dimension, the moon. It's irrelevant, right? Why would we go, physically go there? That's just where they are temporarily.
We're the OG Asian, man. We belong on the moon.
Well,
we're like Sailor Moon, Moon Princess, who was born there.
No, we're like 8/14ths of that.
Okay, spoilers. Thanks, Nico.
Whoops.
I don't know. I kind of marked out at the fact that they're fighting shadow dragons.
Alice in HD looks really cool, though.
Wasn't the shadow dragon in the original teaser for FF11 when it came out?
Oh, I didn't even realize they were fighting FF11 shadow dragons.
That's a great question.
I remember that vividly, because I remember it was in the US. It was 2003 fall when it came out on console, or was that PC? It came out in the US first, then console in spring 2004. And I remember watching this teaser over and over, waiting to the day I could get it for my PS2. And so I think that's what it's from.
I gotta say, I don't think anyone was more hyped than me when they saw the Warrior of Light reveal Paladin armor.
Interesting though that it looked like he was in an Asian robe previous to that when he was up on the moon, and there we see Fandaniel with a similar looking robe actually.
Yeah, I mean we're all friends here now, right? I mean they said it right. Even Xenos or whatever his name is, he's our
Xenos
best friend.
considers us his best.
Yeah,
friend.
we're best friends.
Oh, that's god damn it! This really is just Dragon Ball Z, isn't it?
That asshole isn't dead yet.
No.
Well, define dead.
Like I don't have to see him ever again.
No, he's alive.
Why are they Seymour'ing the shit out of fucking Xenos?
Oh, look how cool he looks. Ah.
That's a really good point. They are kind of Seymour-ing the shit out of him.
They are.
Well, I mean, we have anima weapons, so it makes sense. Right? Anima's
So
coming.
this one's a
Maybe primal.
combination of FF4 and 10.
Yeah, there's
Look at that Star Wars chip.
Did you see the Photoshop they did on Reddit where they actually put the Death Star in there?
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
So a lot of hype around this trailer. What were your guys' original thoughts?
It was hard because I was watching it on my phone at my in-laws' house while like they were watching random songs to try to entertain the baby on the TV. So I was trying really hard to like pay attention to what was going on. So that's why I totally missed that they were fighting shadow dragons, which is cool.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, I mean, how was everyone's first thought? Not thank God I invested in GameStop and AMC, right? Because we're prepared for this. I mean, I just want to say
I'm too pleb to understand stocks, so I did.
Well, see, the thing is, we have diamond hands, and that means we're better than everyone else.
And we're going to the moon.
Rockets.
I mean, Juxta, you've got to feel somewhat vindicated. I know that we're making fun of Skuro when we talk about a Garlean moon base, but I mean, you've been memeing this for a good 4 years. It's got to feel like some kind of payoff to you.
Excuse me, memeing? No, this is just another prophecy from Juxtadamus coming to fruition. You're welcome.
Fruition.
No, fruition.
He knows what he said.
It feels like I'm dying inside.
Oh man, I think that there's a lot of legitimate hype around this. I think that it's pretty exciting that the confrontation with Garlemald is finally coming to a head. We're getting to go to at least some sections of Islabard. It feels like they punted this for the entirety of Shadowbringers. And I don't mean that as a negative at all. I probably would have if I had remained on the show. I probably would have been extremely skeptical because of it. But no, I think that this is in general, pretty exciting. A pretty exciting direction for the story to go. Even if people are really burnt out by Xenos and Fandaniel.
It still makes me question though, like literally since 1.0 they keep touting that it's been 10 years of Hydaelyn and Zodiark. Like what are they gonna do with the story once that's done? Like they even said that 6.0, like, which was an interesting choice. They normally take 3 patches, right, to conclude the story, and then the next 2 patches lead into the next story.
Sure.
But they said that 6.0 is going to be its own contained story, and then 6.1 is going to be brand new.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and also the kind of the confirmation that this is going to be the culmination of the conflict between Hydaelyn and Zodiark. I mean that goes all the way to like the core of like 1.0, like the origins of this game.
Yeah.
If I had to put money on it, I'd probably bet that they're going to go over a more grounded story next, like something that's not so otherworldly and like high level.
We're going to the moon. What do you mean it's not going to be otherworldly?
No, that's what I mean. I think after 6.0.
Oh, okay. I get that.
I think when they go to start fresh, I think they're going to try to bring us, like, ground us a bit more for at least a couple patches, if not an expansion or so.
Yeah, like thinking about it, we're going to the moon. The end of the war between the gods that has been happening for years. We're probably going to solve the whole issue of the calamities and the multiple shards and all this nonsense. So then where is there to go other than to ground yourself?
They will strip us of our light and we will be Lacta level 1.
We have
again.
to go to Provian.
Well, they kept saying that like the theme of this is final, like it's Endwalker, Final Fantasy. The word finale kept coming up. They're like, it's not the end of the game, but it's the end of the story.
But then they talk about hope and how your character needs to embody hope for a future. So what's the future?
I also learned that I'm secretly a furry.
Me?
I don't know. I think, there's a bunch of core mysteries, and they brought some up through the presentation, what brought about the final days, what became of Hydaelyn and Zodiark, what will be, the Garlean Empire's fate. Like some of these core questions, it sounds like, especially if they're using them in the presentation, are going to be addressed in this expansion. I think that there's one more that I really need to see, and I'm hoping, at least my theory is that it relates directly to Hydaelyn, and that's the mystery going all the way back to the very first cutscene that we saw at the very beginning of 1.0. And that mystery is what is beneath Silvertear Falls.
That's always been your thing.
Yes, because that out of all of the cutscenes that we've ever gotten, out of all of the story beats out of 1.0 that we've ever gotten, that's been the only one that has never really been paid off or even been referred to. So I think that it's a big deal that it's a possibility that they may go back and finally end up paying that off. I honestly think that can't be understated.
I think if we go back and look, I think 1.0, 2.0, and even 3.0 and Heavensward all have story threads remaining to be answered that aren't necessarily Hydaelyn Zodiark related. Like I think there's still Midgar Somar's children. Isn't there some we don't know about?
Absolutely.
Don't know their status.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's threads there to pick up.
I mean, even the nature of Midgar Somar himself is a bit of a mystery. Like, where did he actually originate from? What was the star that he originally came from? Where did Omega come from? Where did Omega follow him from? I think that those are some sort of larger picture questions that, maybe after 6.0 is done, we can start addressing some of those.
So we're going to the moon. Now we're going to start Star Warsing to other planets.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know going to other planets, but getting at least a little bit more of a reveal. Also, keep in mind, though, Midgar Somar isn't completely disconnected from Hydaelyn. In a lot of different places, Midgar Somar is referenced as the first warrior of light. That he was the first one to enter into a pact with Hydaelyn. So we may actually get more revealed about Midgar Somar than we think.
Yeah, didn't they have a falling out as well? Wasn't there a conflict afterwards?
That I don't know.
I feel like he wasn't a fan of the fact that you were her servant.
He did. That's why he blocked us from her when we first got him.
You're not wrong.
He was pissed off.
Yeah. He was like, look at you. You're relying on her gifts. Disgusting.
Yeah. No. And so I think that is, that's something that's got to be paid off with this Hydaelyn Zodiark conflict. I don't know. I think that this feels final, right? Like this does feel like they're very purposefully wrapping things up. And I actually really like the idea that it's going to be done by 6, right? Because then I can really gauge whether or not I want to stick around for the subsequent patches.
Not to mention the fact that, only having 2 patches of prequel of like build up is kind of awkward when you're starting an entirely new arc, right?
Yeah,
because that's what they've always done, right? They found only these .4 and .5 patches have been the build up into the next expansion, but when you're resetting an entire arc, I don't think that's enough. So that's probably why they want more lead time.
I would, if I had to guess, they're probably going to be doing more breadcrumbing than anything in those kind of like subsequent DLC patches. I don't know. I think you bring up a really, really interesting point. Yeah, it's hard to go full throttle into whatever the next thing is. So they're provided with an opportunity to A, close all the loose ends that still exist, or B, start breadcrumbing. But then if it's like breadcrumbing, it's like, why am I doing any of this, right? Like, then I think you've gone from something that feels epic and final and a conclusion to what, right? I think that transition is going to be a little bit more important than any of us really realize.
Yeah, I mean, in .1, .2 patches, they don't have the right hook. It's going to be a little awkward.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a look at Sage. This is the new job that is being added with 6.0. One of two. And let's take actually a look at the video because we see actually in the trailer that Alphino was actually that already equipped with Sage, and interesting that they use 6 flying dildos as the weapon.
I thought of them more like lightsabers.
Well, I saw an image where it was baguettes.
I don't know how I feel about this, guys. Like,
I mean, it's a healer with Magitech lightsabers.
Yeah,
it's just.
Have you never heard of LASIK?
It's
LASIK eye surgery.
Yeah, like lasers heal people.
It's so extra, though. Like, I don't know.
It is very extra. It is definitely extra. Like look at all those light beams.
Yeah, like it is. I don't know, man. I like original jobs, right? Like I like my stuff to have a little bit of originality to it. But this is so far out there in terms of like the sort of like tech fantasy element. It seems like a weird fit. Where does this come from? Right? Like, is this a job?
Moon.
Come on.
No, what if it's an ancient Asian class?
Yeah, this has to be like the Asian answer to like White Mage or Scholars or like any other healers, because
I can't imagine Asians would be White Mage, right?
Well, if you notice, they're crystals, right? The weapons surrounding them, right? They're technically crystals, and they did reveal that Alphino will be going through some sort of training or something in the next patch, in the .5 patch, I think, or the .55, one of those. So presumably he'll explain, I guess, where the fuck he finds these weapons, right? Because I don't think they've given us enough to go on. There's no background.
Maybe Alphino creates this class.
Oh my god! If Alphino's just sitting there going, "Alice, I've done it. I figured it out." Dildos. I mean, to be fair, he's been learning a lot of lessons. Like a lot. Like he's made a lot of mistakes. Like he's probably the biggest fuck up in all the Scions. So I mean, I guess he's the wisest now. I guess. I don't know.
But he's learned a lot.
I guess.
I don't think he's learned enough to create an entire job class.
I was excited for the little teaser at the end of the .3 patch where Alize and Alphino go, I can't help but think I just haven't grown enough. And I was like, oh, cool. So they're going to get new outfits next. That's neat, right? But then like to find out like, oh, this is how Alphino's growing. He's going to have flying crystals. Okay, I guess.
What's wrong with crystal dildos? I mean, outside of being really uncomfortable, like.
I mean, Juxta, you're the expert. What do you think?
Okay, like they're fine in like the bedroom and in private and stuff, but you don't take that to a fight, man. Come on.
Or cock.
I mean,
cock stuff.
I mean,
you don't take a.
It makes you feel good, and healers make you feel good when you get health restored. It works, right?
I mean, listen, this isn't the first game that has used dildos as weapons, you know? Fucking.
I don't know. I don't see those as dildos. I feel like if those were dildos, that would be very painful.
I gotta be honest, like, after people mentioned it, the more I look at it, the more I keep thinking Gundam. Because there are, like, those stupid Gundam lasers that pop out of the mobile suit and shoot on the sides. I didn't think about that initially, but a lot of people mentioned it. I looked it up, and I was like, oh my god, that it is really weird.
I don't know enough about Gundam.
Like, I don't feel like it's like Gundam enough to be Gundam. Like,
but it's just a little bit.
Things are the Gundam, and then it just looks weird because every healer is going to be wearing white robes. So it's like, I don't know. It's just awful.
I honestly think that maybe like a dark themed healer would be fun. Because like you're right, like every fucking healer looks the same. Oh, white robe, cool. Nice. Like, I don't know, having a healer with a little bit of edge. Dark Knight healer, confirmed.
Or even green, because nature can be healing, right? There's other varieties besides white. It doesn't have to be the religious, holy variant, right?
Yeah, I that's fair too. That's fair too. But
it's just like they're not trying. That's the weird
Hang
part.
on, I want to think. So like this is like half backtracking, but not really. Like the actual trailer for Endwalker, I feel like it's actually just a teaser for the new job. Like literally the entire point of that is showing Alphino with the new job equipped, and like the Warrior of Light is a paladin, but it does nothing to make you speculate about the story.
No, you're 100% right.
I'm thinking about. Do you remember, Nero, when we were at the last FanFest and they debuted the Shadowbringers trailer? Do you remember how we couldn't stop debating who the little girl was and what was going on the entire FanFest?
Yeah.
And I feel like this trailer is just like, hey, Moon, hey, new job, the end.
Yeah, even when they confirmed that we were going to the first in Shadowbringers at FanFest, it was sort of like, I don't think any of us could really understand the scope of it or what that really meant. I mean, I think actually a good parallel was back at the FanFest where they had released Stormblood. And first announced Stormblood, because the first trailer that we got was mostly focused on Lise. And
Alamigo, and there was no mention. But that was weird, because that actually kind of expresses the duality of that expansion even more, because they literally had to splice what could have been a completely separate trailer into it the next FanFest, where they're like, oh, by the way, we're also going to Dome, and it's a completely different set of stuff you're doing that's loosely.
And that's
joined.
Maybe at the digital FanFest we'll get more trailers.
Oh no, for sure. Definitely.
This is definitely only part one. There's got to be at least another half.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, because there's a lot of speculation floating around about the second job, which we do know is going to be a physical melee job. There's a lot of speculation based on the shirts that Yoshi P was wearing, both at the presentation and at the live letter afterwards, that it could be Reaper or some kind of variant on Dark Knight.
I heard. I think they called it the Aniro class.
Yeah. See, listen, one Dark Knight wasn't enough. They were like, Nero, we need you to come back. We can't do this game without your cynic takes on what we're doing. We need you to come back. We're offering you a second Dark Knight job. Please, for the love of God. And listen, I'm only too happy to oblige, Square Enix. Thank you for caving to my demands. I know it was kind of ridiculous to add a second Dark Knight job, but listen, the tank role is just not that satisfying as a Dark Knight, and so a melee DPS role I think is much more in line with what Dark Knights actually want. So
but you hate Scythe.
He's coming around to it.
Don't bring that up. That's kind of a sore spot. They caved to my demands, but then I capitulated on the Scythe. Okay, it's
a compromise, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Like what were they going to do? Have two different greatsword versions? That wouldn't make any sense.
They would never add another job that would utilize a sword. That's just ridiculous.
Now watch the rotations just spam drain. It's going to be really, really nice.
Oh, let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Can you bio, please? Can you bio?
Stun, please stun. So yeah, let's also take a look at some of the rest of this presentation here as well, because one of the big announcements was, of course, one of the cities that we're going to be going to, Raz-at-Han. So here, let me bring this over, and there we go. We get a little bit of a look at Raz-at-Han with, Juxta. You just keep popping up over things, and it's really distracting.
Well, I'm just everywhere,
Well, tell me about Raz-at-Han then, since you're checking it out right now.
Well, the disparation between the richest of the people and the poorest is just far too wide. We have to take back take and strike at the economic upper class. We need to redistribute the wealth.
I was wondering where this was going. Actually, the city. I was actually talking about the city. What do you think about what they have shown off for the city, Juxta?
It's pretty. I like it. I like the color scheme a lot, actually.
I think it's genuinely pretty interesting, because this is not a type of a type of aesthetic that we've seen a lot from the FF14 development team. This seems very South American. That was the first thing that I thought of when I saw this. It's kind of ancient Peruvian.
It's interesting because like Raz-at-Han has always kind of been alluded to be like the Middle Eastern, like it's where like the Blue Mage stuff comes from, and all the like Middle Eastern-y swords and stuff says they're Raz-at-Han in 14. But then when we see it, you're right, it's more like tropical.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the chat are mentioning India as well. I agree with that. I think it's got elements of both in there, especially in some of this architecture here. Like I can see where people are getting India from. I think it was the colors though that really kind of said South American to me. I don't know.
Okay, but if it's Indian, then like we have to see some kind of like elephant like type of topography or whatever, and I just don't see that in there. There's like, come on, there's no elephants.
The elephant beastmen.
Yeah, did you not see that?
Okay, no, that's the joke. That's the joke.
Thanks for connecting that. Appreciate it. So we've also got the new Beastman tribe. Someone try to say this because I don't know how the fuck you would say this.
Matanga.
That wasn't
the Arca Sodara Matanga.
Very all right, I guess. You do, and you'll clean it up.
You geeks are so gullible.
Anyway, I don't know. What am I supposed? I don't know. What am I supposed to think about this?
I mean, they already exist. Like, outside of the Azim Steppe, there you fight them already.
Yeah.
As enemies.
Well, they're not gonna like that when we show up then.
Well, apparently these are the peaceful ones.
They're saying these ones are friendly ones. Like how there's peaceful Nath, and there's also ones that you fight, and peaceful. There's always peaceful versions of the beast.
These things are already in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're enemies in the southern area of Azim Steppe. They're hunt marks if you do the daily hunts.
How do I not remember this?
Yeah, I don't remember a fucking blue elephant.
I feel like a blue elephant would stick out of my mind.
They don't have big like Indian saris on. they're kind of like the guy on the left, but less colorful. They definitely are, because I always level the jobs and do all the hunt marks, and I distinctly remember fighting them. They're kind of by the caves in the southwest area of Azim Steppe.
And you're 100% sure these aren't like pink elephants, right, Nika? Like these are real.
What?
See what you did.
I'm missing the joke.
As usual.
Pink elephants on parade. What? Have you never seen fucking Dumbo?
Yeah, when I was like 5.
Oh.
You didn't subject your child to Dumbo yet? What's wrong with you?
No, not yet. She doesn't have an attention span for a whole movie yet. So.
Dumbo
She's
and
only one.
Charlie, fucking Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Those are 2 necessary films for every child to see, so they can be terrified. Let's also talk, because we know that we're getting the Garlean Empire, Garlemald specifically, out of that. Though not in maybe the capacity that we were thinking or hoping once upon a time. Clearly,
it's gonna be a dungeon. Womp womp.
It better not just be a dungeon.
Fucking dungeon.
I think that would be. I think that would be legitimately disappointing. But it also does sound like they sold it as a zone.
They did sell it as a.
So,
I mean, Juxta, if you had just hurried, you could have gotten there before all this happened. It's kind of on you, right?
Yeah,
and if it does become a dungeon, that's kind of on you.
It's all your fault.
I mean, I'm just saying that. What was that giant? That giant castle that was in Stormblood that we never got to go to, except for like that small outpost. Oh God, what was that in the
Alamigo
zone? Yeah, Alamigo.
Yeah,
the Alamigo castle, that was part of a zone, but it's really just a dungeon.
I mean,
that's what Scarlet Mall's going to be. You're going to have this giant zone, and then like a little fraction of the city.
I mean, you're probably not wrong. I mean, this is going to be Tavnasia all over again.
I mean, it's already very destroyed. Like it's clearly had some kind of civil war.
I mean, they've been. That's what's been going on.
While we've been gone,
we're gonna
yeah. We got Isekai.
We're gonna be able to enter the one like undestroyed part, and we're just gonna see the destruction in the distance, and it's not going to be like I hope we get to just wander the destruction. That would be cool, but
Yeah.
Oh, hey, real quick, spoilers. Did that Black Rose plague thing ever happen?
You gotta play. You see, this is why you actually gotta play through.
Just say yes or no. That's all I'm asking.
It's a major.
no.
No. Okay, see, there you go.
God damn it.
I mean, it did in one character's reality, but you have to change the course of the future.
The fate has been rewritten.
Just play the fucking thing. You'll find out. Just play it.
Juxta, what patch did you stop at?
5.0.
5.0.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't done any of the. Oh.
Wasn't the last patch the one before literally called like Our Future Rewritten or something? Like
something like
I mean,
that.
it could be. I don't know. I don't keep up with this shit.
So we've also gotten a look at Garlemald as well as a couple of different things. We've got Anima that's going to be coming. Apparently,
I'm trying to figure out why they just brought Anima.
Because he's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Why now?
fan service, Nika.
Why not?
I mean, it's definitely cool, and I know they did say that like the art director that created Anima is part of the 14's art team.
Yeah.
So like that's cool to like bring him in, but like why? I'm curious, like why now? Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, she. You're right.
She. Sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, Anima's a lady. Okay, I do know that. Anima. I thought you meant the art designer. Anima is a
Anima.
she. Yeah.
Spoilers. It's the mother.
Well, it's Seymour's mother in 10, but they said that. I mean, it's going to have a whole different lore, obviously. 14.
Well, it's got to be someone's mother. Or else, why the fuck are we?
It's our mom.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Stop.
We don't have
She
parents.
was the
No,
original Aston.
We're not allowed character development.
She's Heidelin's mother.
Ugh, I don't know about that.
It's really Yida.
Oh God! Stop. Oh God! Oh God!
Actually, you know what? I would be okay with that. If it's Yida, yeah, let's do that. I'm
so mad they never brought Yida back. They really lost out on like having a really cool plot arc, and they failed.
Yeah.
A quick poll in the chat. Anyone care about Yida at all? Like, is there any emotional attachment to like finding out? Just curious.
Well, there could have been if they had actually made Lise a more interesting character to us care about Yida. Like
I think the sentiment is keep Lise off of my screen at all costs. That's it. I've never seen anyone say anything good about Lise.
She's
ever.
got good boobs.
I actually don't hate Lise. They made her really ditzy, but I mean, it makes sense given her upbringing, I guess.
She is like one of the weakest female characters out of all of the ones we have. Like how? Like put her next to like Alize. Oh come on, put her next to like Alize. Who's the stronger character? Let's be honest. In any sense of the word.
Okay, but to be fair, Lise is a lot stronger than that dead Galka chick that died a whole long time ago.
Who?
Oh yeah, I forgot about her.
Oh, the person who's around for a patch and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very weak.
Wow.
All right. Also, we got a look at some of these new areas. These are almost certainly going to end up being dungeons. This first one, I think we were told that this is somewhere on Raz-at-Han, somewhere on the island, but very, very different. Of course,
Yeah, it's
on fire.
As you can see, the linear path actually has a bridge on it.
With a circle platform.
And then, that leads to the circle arena. So it's a little innovative. It's a little innovative,
Yeah. So looks like we're not going to be getting any new innovative dungeon designs. Any speculation on what's going on here exactly? I would think, since Raz-at-Han as a continent, as a landmass, is located directly south of Islabard, I would imagine that this is maybe the Garlean conflict spilling over into their border.
This zone kind of looks like the zone in the trailer with all the fire and the grass and stuff.
Well, no, but the zone in the trailer, we know that's the floating city in Nim. It actually, it actually zooms in on Lenosia when in the actual trailer. So yeah, that's pretty. I'm 99.9% sure that's floating city in Nim.
I got to respond to something. Someone in the chat said they said more harder dungeons. No, and I just want to be clear. Every single expansion announcement, they've said new challenging dungeons as a blanket term. They don't actually mean they're getting harder. They just mean new dungeons, and they're trying to make it sound exciting.
Yeah,
they're harder in the fact that you have to have a higher item level to beat them.
There you go. Yeah, no, this is boilerplate. That's marketing speak, is what it is. Don't be fooled by that. We've also got this, which looks like another dungeon. I mean, obviously you can see the path. Looks a lot like Void Ark to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So anything out of the 13th, right? The Void.
Yeah, which makes me wonder whether or not the 13th is going to play any kind of role in this expansion at all.
I kind of feel like all the shards are going to play a role in this expansion somehow.
But that's sad because that means we can't get another isekai expansion where we go to another shard. You know,
although
I want another new world.
Although someone actually brought up a good point. You know, we don't really know yet how we're getting to the moon. Void Ark is still a thing. This could be a different section of Void Ark, like we're trying to get to the controls or something.
You look at the patch notes and it goes, must have completed the Void Ark fucking 24 mans, just like they did with the Crystal Tower for Shadowbringers. And
maybe.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that wouldn't, I don't think that's the worst idea that I've ever heard of.
People spamming, teleport moon, 500 gil, can I have it?
I mean, the hot pirate chick would come back, right? So that's okay.
And then the last thing that we have to talk about in terms of this presentation, or the big pieces of content that are going to be coming with Endwalker. Pandemonium is the setting for the next, I believe, raid. Did they
They said it's a new 8-man raid, and it's a completely FF14 original story of Pandemonium.
All right, Raiders, what do you think? The last couple of raids have, I think, been, fairly FF14 unique. Like they've been referencing different games in the series, but
Eden was a bit of a callback, yeah.
Yeah, Eden.
I mean, Eden had FF8's world music.
That's true. Okay, I'll grant you that. The Omega before that was sort of like a boss rush of different enemies from Final Fantasy's past.
Wow, was Alexander the last unique?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, but think about all the bosses in Eden, though, were not recycled.
No, not all of them, but the problem is how many were, though, right? I mean, there were a lot of them.
Oh, that's true. There's just like the primals redone, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
There was a lot. Ratio-wise, it was significant.
Right.
That's true.
So, I mean, what do you think? Are you looking forward to this? Do you think it's going to be a smart move to make it unique to FF14? You would think that if they're making if they're making it unique to FF14, that it's going to connect to the lore somehow, and especially we see in this preview image La Habrea,
which I'm so sick of him. Like he's dead, he's gone. Like put a new fucking. I don't know. I feel like they keep bringing La Habrea back in one way or another, and they keep tying him in. And I'm like, why can't he just stay dead? He's like Xenos too.
Well, just kill him harder. I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, I think you bring up a good point, because now this is two pieces of content where we're fighting enemies that are multiple expansions old.
I think it's to the point where I guess they felt they wanted to give La Habrea an end after having the context of Emmett Selch and
I guess the only
Elidibus, right? Because he's the other original, isn't he? Isn't he the third original?
I believe
he's
so.
The true, yeah, he's the true. The other, he's the third one in the trio that they never got split. They never got shattered.
I guess what
sundered, yeah.
What does make me excited about it is that if La Habrea ties into this, that means it ties into the main story, which I know we've bitched about that we haven't seen that since Coil.
I mean, Eden actually did have some nice little tie-ins.
It had some tie-ins, but it was
there was like the goodbye. Well, I mean, it was, but they did a better job of tying it in than the previous ones. Like they had the goodbye to Thancred. They actually had the send off at the right moment. They actually required you to beat certain points in the MSQ, so they could assume that plot line was finished before you moved on.
Agreed.
Yeah, so you couldn't actually just stop the MSQ and go off and do all of it. You actually had to follow the order.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true,
Yeah.
but it still was its own like kind of contained.
And I think it's always going to be to an extent, but the important part is that they do what they did this time, which is have it woven in so it feels more natural and not just a completely separated piece of storyline.
I don't know. Coil felt pretty woven in though.
Yeah, but I think that's because it was also like what it wove into was the origin of the entire Realm Reborn remake, right? Which is Bahamut, and I think that's why that resonated so strongly. The problem with these is that it's something new that they're weaving into, so you don't know what the premise is yet.
But I mean, seeing La Habrea, I guess at least to me, feels like it will be a bigger tie-in than even Eden was.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It should be good.
I hope so. I mean, I think that the only time that I praised the story immediately coming out of the other side of a raid tier was all the way back during Coil, and how integral that felt to the story that was being told. I'm hoping that that's what we're going to start seeing here as well.
I mean, the real, just like the real epilogue to the story of the first and Shadowbringers isn't the MSQ. It's really the Eden raid.
That's fair.
That's really the true.
I haven't
epilogue.
Finished the last one. I don't remember.
Don't
spoil.
No,
it's very emotional.
Yeah, you should.
Somebody carry me through it. Like
carry you? It's normal mode. You can blindfold yourself.
Nika.
Jesus Christ!
What the fuck?
No, I just bought a bunch of gear on the market board and I have no materia. I'm really scrubbed right now, guys.
Nika, it took me one night to fucking farm gear, buy a few pieces, walk in there blindfolded, and go, all right, what do I do?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just real scrubbed here right now. So
I did it on accident. Like, come on,
gem her materia slots.
Remember when Nika represented you guys as the raider? Remember
before I had a baby that absorbed my entire life?
I mean, you had a lot of babies throughout the course of the show. I know what you're talking about.
I had a lot of imaginary babies, but now I've got a real one.
That's just rude. Like, I don't think they appreciate that.
I think I had triplets at one point.
Old jokes are fun. So yeah, we've also got some side content that's coming, some new quests they've confirmed.
Animal Crossing.
What?
Jesus.
That's what they said. We're
not
Animal
there
Crossing
yet.
after 14.
Nika, we're not there yet.
You said new side content, Animal Crossing.
I said new side quests.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the role quests instead of the job quests. And they've separated some of the DPS, which I guess people are kind of happy about. It's also going to be gathering quests. Who cares?
Right, but nobody's happy about it though because job quests were way cooler than role quests.
They did confirm. Luckily, the new jobs being added are getting job quests for the during from 70 to 80. They are getting job quests.
That's
the new
good.
ones, only the new ones. Because otherwise they'd have nothing. They'd have
nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I still feel like. I don't know. The last one kind of made sense because it followed the different Warriors of Darkness and their paths, and so it kind of made sense to clump it into roles. But I still feel like what made each job unique was its history and backstory. And
my thing is I'm happy that even though I'm not happy they're doing role quests, but I am happy at least that they're adding an extra one because it did feel like if they're going to do role quests, they should really do each unique role. And I think ranged physical got shafted in Shadowbringers.
Okay, then they should really do a barrier healer one and a
my god,
one.
Jesus!
Don't make it a
thing. You know what?
Come on.
No, I think they need to condense it more. They need to have DPS, tank, and healer, and that's it.
Juxta, it's not about optimizing it for your standard of content consumption. It's about
I'm just saying if they reduce the role quests, then maybe the bunny people can actually get helmets.
Those two things are not linked. That is not how that works.
I think we could get helmets if they didn't put Animal Crossing in this game though.
That's also not necessary. Okay, actually, maybe there are asset development there, but still, that's not necessarily one for one. It's not how game development works, guys. Come on.
So we're also getting a bit of an update to the trust system. Estinian is going to be able to be a trust.
I feel like that's spoilers.
There was a follow-up in an interview to the trust system where they confirmed that they actually originally had plans to do way more with the trust system and actually have them show up in any kind of content, but that's on hold for now because they haven't figured out how to do it.
Oh my god!
So that's why we're just getting them in the quote unquote main dungeons.
When your 18-year-old MMO is able to figure out a feat of technology that your newer MMO is not able to fucking do.
Because if it's 11, you can just summon them.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know why that AI is particularly hard, but okay.
I mean, to be fair, I think the AI, the way they function in dungeons, is a bit more advanced than the way the 11 trusts work. I think it's a little more involved, and I think the problem is they've only been able to get the AI to be that good in the dungeons in Shadowbringers because they know that they're in a dungeon.
Because it's linear content. It's not dynamic. Yeah.
God forbid it was a branching path in that place, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. A second set of mob ads. Like what are we doing?
What if you pull one pack and they fuck off and pull the other?
Oh my God. The whole system would just disintegrate. It would be like Thanos snapping it out of existence.
Can't handle it.
We've also got Island Sanctuary, I guess.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, I guess.
Or I guess it's like Farmville or something.
Nika confirmed it's solo content. You can't bother other people with it.
Really? That's so boring.
Nah.
Like, I don't know who asked for Stardew Valley in R14.
Well, they always like to do some kind of solo content.
Yeah, as long as like it's this and not some other useless solo job, like I'll take it.
I guess, but like the whole time where they're like a new type of content, Island Sanctuary, and they're like, it gives you a chance to slow down and enjoy the slow build of life. And I'm like, if this game isn't already slow, I don't know.
Do you want to hear what they said in the interview about it?
What?
The concept behind this content is to provide players with a more slow life. That means relaxing. Feel so that they are making sure any of the elements they're competing with other players is kind of avoided.
Well, there you go. There you go. There's your baby content, Nika.
That's true.
You will still retain some form of communication with other players, but the content itself is largely solo. Trading within this sanctuary and earning gil can be done by planting and growing specialties that you've cultivated, as well as interacting with the other features in this game that we're not ready to talk about yet. They will make it so that even if you're not interested in trading and only want to just grow crops, you can do so without facing any losses or penalties, and you're free to admire the minions that you love and have brought into and have fun growing these animals. That's got to be a mistranslation.
Maybe raising them.
Yeah, maybe that's what they mean. Yeah, so it's just it's bizarre.
It seems like, again, I'm going back to like Lords Verminion or whatever. Like, who asked for this?
Yeah, who is this made for?
To be fair, I kind of was hoping they would do pet battles like they did in WoW, like the Pokemon ripoff there. And so Lords of Vermilion was just kind of like, oh, why is it an RTS? I think that's what threw people off. I think if it was actually like turn-based combat, that actually would have taken off, believe it or not.
Probably.
As a casual little side thing.
I've always said that Verminion on its own, if it was like a mobile game where you can just link it to your like Lodestone account and like play on your phone, would be great.
Why is their mobile app not let you do little turn-based combat with your pets, right?
So like if Lords of Verminion was only mobile, you linked it to your Lodestone and you could access all of your minions on your phone, and then you could just play it like on your commute to work. I think it would have gotten so much more use. But then putting it in the game is so stupid.
Yes, play it while you drive to work.
Yeah, like look.
Well, people take the train, I think.
But like looking at, and I just feel like this game, like first of all, competing with players, this isn't 11. There's no competition with other players other than just like which Twitch streamer can kill this first.
Literally none.
There is no competition between players in this game.
What? No, I don't agree with that. I think there is a competition. I think there is a raid circuit. It's just been hampered by the issues I mentioned.
How are they competing against each other?
Okay,
again,
but it's just
there's always going to be players that want to clear content before other people.
But I'm talking about it's prestige only that you're competing against. It's not like 11 where it's like you're actually competing for gear against other players.
Yeah,
you claim this enemy.
Are you talking about fighting for drops?
I'm talking in general competition in the game. Other than PvP, and like I guess the last thing that came out.
Are you really comparing old Skull and Bones?
No. I'm just talking about competing. The only thing I can think of that's been recent is the crafting Ishgard had like ranking system or something. So I guess there was some competition. But when I'm looking at like you need to slow down and play Island Sanctuary because there's so much competition between players and just enjoy the life of Eorzea. To me, this feels like completely like off base with the pace of this game. This game is not competitive at all.
I mean, listen. If they had said, here's content that you don't have to stare at the screen all the time to do, right? Like you can do stuff, like you can do a thing and then walk away. You know, like that may be a better selling point than saying, oh, this is to avoid the competition. Because you're right, there is no competition. There's no claim system. There's nothing that walls you out of doing content. If you want to see the story for everything in this game, there's nothing that prevents you at all outside of the arbitrary eye-level requirement. That's it.
I think the thing they were going for there wasn't so much avoiding competition with other players. I think it's a bad translation. I think it was more about not having to like group up and do group content. I think that's what they were aiming.
Yeah, I think it has more. I think it has more to do with pace and yeah.
Well, like we are asking for more group content. Like who's asking for
here's the problem. Here's the problem. Because a lot of the players who enjoy the challenging content have so little of it, right? They have like 4 or 5 bosses a tier, and then they do their MSQ, they do their bosses, and they log off, and they rarely log back on. They're a vocal minority. Yeah. Think about how many people you see on the subreddit or on the forums or on these other places who, and this is not a bad thing in isolation, but pretty much all they do is housing, collecting minions, collecting mounts, collecting achievements, just kind of like messing around, doing some RP events, right? And there's nothing wrong with that by itself. But when those people become the majority, or even worse, we don't know what the Japanese audience is doing, right? We don't really have a handle on that. So for all we know, it's a bunch of Western players screaming into the void because maybe they don't have as good of an insight into this as we hope, right? Maybe they don't have like. Maybe they only get like cliff notes on what the Western player base is asking for. We don't know how much they're actually.
I mean, I definitely think that's a good point. Speaking of, let's talk about.
Sorry, I thought it was garbage.
I don't have that one handy. I wish I did. But anyway, let's move on and talk about the true end game in this 14. It is got to be housing. The new housing district, Ishgard.
I thought we had that already.
No, the crafters are rebuilding it right now.
It's taking time, Juxta. We're not baking a cake here.
So there's Juxta. There's current content that you've missed out on where it's like every patch, when every patch drops, there's like a rush for crafters to go and do a whole bunch of shit to rebuild Ishgard patch by patch.
Yeah.
And so the reward of doing this is that Ishgard will be completed and you will have a housing.
I got to be honest, I'm legitimately jealous of this content. I've never actually wanted to gather or craft in a game, and every time I hear about this, it sounds so interesting because I've never seen this in another MMO.
It does actually, and what pisses me off is that it's so time gated. Like, I can't play at this exact moment in time because I have a baby at home, so if I don't log in by the time it's completed, I miss out on it completely.
Nika, I could take your argument and just make it about MMOs in general. Sure. You're like, who has time for this?
No,
pretty much, yeah.
Like, MMOs.
But I mean, the thing is, when you start an MMO late, right, you can play through all the MSQ, even if you're high level and when you blow through it, you can see all of the content. I can go back and play Crystal Tower if I want to. I cannot go back and do this content. It's gone.
Well, look at it in another game. What if there's a season of PvP or PvE that you miss, right? You can't really go back. It's not relevant anymore. You got to move on to the next thing. It's the same concept.
But this is building an Ishgard. To me, that feels like something that would be so cool to see.
Yeah, but this is the logical extension of what they did with the camp at Mordona. Right? Like this is changing the actual map of the game over time, so you get a sense of the world changing. They've just now taken the extra step and added crafters and gatherers on top of it so that it's a mini game.
This might literally be the most innovative thing they've done in a long time, to be honest with you.
I don't
agree.
dislike the content. I just think that it just sucks that I'll never be able to do it.
Womp womp.
Well, maybe you'll get another chance in Endwalker. Maybe.
Maybe do something similar. I mean, Garlemald is pretty shit, right?
Go fix Garlemald.
Oh God.
let us know when it's fixed, then we'll show up.
I don't think it'll be next patch because you realize we're building Ishgard 2 expansions later.
That's rebuilding Flint. Who wants to do that?
Hey, that's a good point. Nobody has.
Awkward.
Listen, these next 2 points we could probably talk about for quite a while, but I just want to touch on them really quick. We're going to be removing belts, and there's going to be a huge.
My pants are gonna fall.
I'm upset.
There's going to be a huge damage number crunch that's coming up. In fact, all of the data, it seems like HP damage numbers, all of that is going through the crunch. WoW had a very similar thing. They've gone through it now twice, I believe.
Yes, twice.
So, for all those people, I've seen people complaining about it. I think they really, Yoshi P went very far out of his way to explain why this is necessary on the actual presentation stream itself. I agree with it. It's
there's no reason not to.
Yeah, like it's
just speaking from someone who's been through an MMO's number crunch 2 times. Let me just be very clear for everyone. You won't feel it. It's meaningless, and it's only going to help you and help their servers.
There you go. I think.
Well, the issue they did say is that if you want to go back and do old content under leveled, it's gonna the scale is gonna be off. There
is a solution for that. We have to wait and see if Square does it. The way Blizzard handled it is they actually gave an artificial buff to legacy content when you went in there, so that people who could previously solo it could still solo it. Because if it detected you were in a legacy raid because you're farming transmog glamour or whatever, then it would just buff you like crazy to make up for the fact that the scaling had been minimized. So maybe Square could take a similar approach. That's my hope.
That's fair. I don't. Again, I'm with Strife. You're not going to feel it. It's not going to really change much of anything. And the people who are really complaining about it need to sit down and shut the fuck up. I
think the fact they're removing belts is just hilarious.
I'm pissed about it, even though I understand it and I don't fault them for it. I'm still mad because I feel like it's unnecessary.
Yeah,
I get why, but
it does feel a bit arbitrary, and let's hope that it stops there. There's they talked about rings, but the wrist piece is
earrings.
Earrings. I think both of those are definitely on the chopping block. But it's one less aspect that you have to customize your character. But then again, when your choice is one of 3 different gear sets, do you really have that much choice anyway? So let's talk about the data center travel. This seems like it's going to be a big deal because we haven't been able to traverse data centers. I think that that's one of the big things that other modern MMOs have been able to figure out, either with a shardless design or with a very flexible server structure. FF14 pushing itself towards that direction, I think is definitely a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I feel like Square has a habit of not going back to the drawing board and fixing the root of their tech issues. So unfortunately, I feel like this is going to be another weird tacked on system where we're going to have to go through a menu and very explicitly say what data center or server we're trying to get to. Yeah. I wish it was like in other games where if I have Nika on my friends list and she's playing on Balmung because I know she went through a phase, I don't know. And then we want to play together and I add her to my party and suddenly one of us merges to the other person's server. Like that's how seamless it is in other games. I would hope Square would take that approach, but based on how they did the previous world visit system, I doubt it's going to be that way. I think it's going to be some sort of cumbersome menu system we have to go through.
They did say that there were going to be more restrictions on this than there are on the regular world travel, but they didn't say what those restrictions would be. I have a high feeling it's going to be really hard to do 8-man raids across data center.
Well, no, hold on. That's not how it works. Instances are separate servers.
I mean, okay, that's true.
Yeah, when you go into an instance, you are not on the server you originated on, which is why in their tech stack they decided not to implement messaging across servers.
Yeah.
That's why when you're in an instance, you can't whisper someone. It's so stupid. I wish they would allow it, but they're saving cost and they're not letting you
But I just wonder being able to group up in parties with people on different data centers, not just different servers. I just feel like there's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more nuanced than when people are like, "Oh, we can do content with everybody now." Like when we search in the duty finder, I highly doubt we're going to have a pool of everybody again.
Right. Yeah. No, that's probably fair. I mean, I definitely think it's something that's necessary, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily earth-shattering. Let's go ahead and take another caller. We've got Raven on the line. What's going on, Raven?
Guys, it's been a long time. How you guys doing?
Doing real well. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been ages. So, the data server implementation. I'm actually really happy about this because I have friends that are on different data servers, and they finally started playing the game. And I've been playing this game for 7 to 10 years. I'm including 1.0 because
sure.
Yeah.
I know that you guys been wanting to play with me where I had to create a alternate character to just be on Sergeant Tannis, and
I mean, do you remember at the last FanFest when they announced they were doing this and everyone was suddenly worried about their statics because statics were being forcibly broken up? Like, it was a big fucking deal.
Yeah,
it was, and I actually had some stats get broken because of it, but no, I'm really happy about it because now I have my best friend that I've known since like back in elementary school that we can finally play together. And I was just discussing on, okay, this is what you got to do when you're at this level, with Summoner. And now I'm going to be able to go to, weddings and all. I'm just hoping that they do find a way that they can add, they do like the part, like the cross server party where you can actually go into duties so that I can help them out with doing dungeons and content like that.
Yeah.
As long as the instance servers are not connected to a specific data center, they should be able to do that. That's my hope.
But do you know if they are or not? That is
we know. How would we know, right?
Yeah.
I have a feeling, since because I do work in IT for where people are going to get moved from Data World Center servers to duty servers to do this kind of content because we do have the technology to do that, and Square Enix does have the money to be able to implement this because of the fact that how successful this game has become thanks to Yoshi P doing all these changes. I mean, it's beating it's totally beating Star Wars: The Old Republic as well. In terms of this kind of implementation, because I remember playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and you are stuck on a server. You don't get to see other people at other servers, even with their housing system. They never had anything like this. I think that this is a really like sort of a necessary feature for modern MMOs. You don't have friends that are going to stay stuck on one server, and again, the reasons to move servers are multiple. So I think that this just solves multiple problems for FF14. Raven, thank you so much for the call. Much appreciated. Again, if you want to call Limit Break Radio, !Discord in the chat. We'll probably end up taking one or two more calls before we wrap up here. Couple of points before we finish up. FF14 is obviously coming out for the PlayStation 5.
I'm so excited.
Really? Like, no, this was obvious.
Why did this even need an announcement?
No, while I'm excited is because since I already have the PS4 version, it's going to be free to upgrade.
Again, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, they did that with
titles.
they did that with the PS3.
Spider-Man, right? Not just that. There's all these other PS4 titles. This is the trend now. It's beyond even 14.
No, I mean, I'm just glad because I honestly fully, when they said or PlayStation 5, I was like, oh, I'm gonna drop another $100. Like, I legitimately that came into my brain just simply because we have to buy a license for the PC. We have to buy a license for the PS4. I feel like I already paid $1 bajillion to play this on PC. Why can't I just download it on PS4 and play?
I think they're viewing the PlayStation now as a platform, regardless of which one you have, and that's the model there.
I mean, I guess, and I'm actually happy. I just fully expected them to be like, you need your PS4 license, your PS5 license, your PC.
The fact that PC and Steam are separate, that is bullshit. The fact that PC and Steam are separate, that is ridiculous.
That is really dumb.
Yeah, very dumb. Also, Digital FanFest event coming May 15th and 16th. It's going to be absolutely free. If you want to pay for something, though, you can get an 8-person whale mount. It's
pretty cool. That's the first 8-person
Really?
mount.
Come on.
We got to invest.
It's going to be so helpful for doing maps and stuff.
Look, just give us a few months. Juxta and my, our GameStop and AMC stock. We'll get to the moon and we'll bring some back and we'll get you the whale.
Woo!
Oh my God! Yeah. So there we go. That's the bulk of the presentation that we got last night for Endwalker. I think that there's some exciting stuff in here. I don't know that I'm as excited for it as I would have been for going all the way back to Heaven's Word. But again, I think that Shadowbringers earned back a measure of of what?
respect.
No, not quite. Not quite.
That's not crazy. Nick.
They've earned back a bit of the benefit of the doubt with me, which I'm still very skeptical, as I am with most things. It was only one expansion ago that we were fucking around in Doma. I still don't know why we did any of that, but. I think that listen, this is going to be a fun ride, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Final thoughts for you guys on yesterday's presentation. Go ahead, Nika.
I guess I'm excited. I'm just hoping that I'm also optimistic that I'll be able to play more simply because baby's getting older, and so I'm actually kind of excited to know what the new raid's going to be.
Oh, Nika, that's
I know. I plan on it. We'll see. Because my raid group seriously every couple of weeks is like, when are you coming back, Nika? When are you coming back? Because the leader, I love him, but he's just like, I'm ready to hand you lead back. Can you take it, please? I'm like,
is that Mim?
No, it's that Ion.
Ion, okay.
He's like, please, and I'm like, hopefully next raid tier. So I'm just hoping that I'll be able to play again. So I'm actually pretty interested in the raiding, especially if it ties into the story a lot more. I do say I don't think I'm as hyped for it as if this had been announced at a FanFest, but it is what it is. Because it's better to be safe than dead. So I'm hoping that the online FanFest will get me a little bit more hype for it, especially if they reveal more of the trailer. Because like I said, comparing this reveal trailer to the Shadowbringers reveal trailer, I'm a lot less intrigued. But I don't know. I'm as excited for this as I was for Shadowbringers. I guess I just still am, I don't think they're going to do much innovation going forward, but we'll see.
Strife, what about you?
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited for the MSQ. I am. I really want to know where they're going to go. I want to see how they're going to end this journey. And more than anything, I want more details about the raids and the class changes, their job changes. So I'm hoping that we get more about the job changes with that FanFest in May.
We will.
What?
I'm just excited because Paladin.
They still exist, Nika. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not like they removed them and they're bringing them back. Come on now.
I know,
the poster child's irrelevant. They just wanted to do the whole season
Paladins
thing.
always get shafted in raids. They're no, we want Warrior and Gunbreaker now. Fuck Paladins.
Whatever.
Warrior Light is a fucking Paladin.
Fine. Enjoy your fucking cutscenes, okay? I'm getting a second Dark Knight. I don't know what you're going on about. I get an actual second job. I'm fucking thrilled.
Watch the second job be a limited job Beastmaster, and Nero's just well, shit.
God damn it.
Like Blue Mage.
Yeah.
How about this? You know what? I'm so confident in Square Enix that right now...
This is a mistake in the making.
Whatever this second job is going to be, I am promising to level it.
Oh, what?
Jesus.
I thought Dark Knight was your only job.
Ha! I have Machinist at 80, so take that. I'm cheating on Dark Knight, if you must know.
Wow.
Why? I don't, because it's a fun job. I needed a second job to take through Bazoja.
It's called playing a game, Juxta.
Yeah.
What the fuck is Bazoja?
I only have 3 level 80 jobs right now. I suck.
It's the new Eureka, but different and better, and it has a raid inside of it, and you can play with special action buttons. There you go, Juxta. That's your summary.
I'm just gonna assume that it's bad.
It's not that bad.
It's actually pretty good.
Does it have gear that comes out of it?
No.
I mean,
relics.
Relic weapon.
Oh,
yeah.
I guess relic weapon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, did you even try?
All right, let's. I want to take 2 more calls before we wrap it up here. Let's bring in Shinta-Sin. Shinta, what's going on?
Holy shit! It has been how many years?
2?
Yeah,
almost 2. Pretty close to 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap.
2020 counts as 3 years, though.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's been 5 years.
It's weird because usually within once every 2 years we're in Vegas, so this was odd. Thanks, pandemic.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have been able to go though, so this works out for me.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have had the overhead cash to go either.
If there's a FanFest in 2 years, I could bring the baby.
You should not bring a baby to Vegas.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a mistake. I know it's no longer in Vegas, but
Squirrel brought his baby once.
Like we're a bunch of degenerates. We probably shouldn't bring a child around us.
Yeah.
But I can dress her up as a cute little cosplay baby.
Oh, I'm sure Surin will
I'll probably
love
be
that.
hammered.
That's not the point of a baby, Nika.
Yes, it is.
Nika's gonna be that pageant mom soon, but for like cosplay.
Mommy,
Subscribe to my baby's Patreon immediately.
Who's a little moon breeder? Who's a little moon breeder?
Hey, can you do that?
Yeah.
Probably.
You I guess.
I mean,
Probably,
this is America.
if you're willing to traumatize your child.
Juxta, have you ever seen anything on TikTok? All the accounts with cute babies have like bajillion followers, so you could totally exploit Bert for likes.
If
money.
you're listen, Juxta, if your fucking answer to this question is yes, that you know anything about TikTok as a 30-something-year-old man, I will immediately revoke your man card.
I would normally say this is all questionable, but that baby should be paying rent.
I mean, yes, it should be paying rent, and
Exactly.
I know that TikTok steals your information and sends it to China. Does that count?
I mean, you use Facebook, right? So same thing.
Yeah.
Babies are just freeloaders.
Hey, Fairbear says yes, Nika. So I don't know what she's thinking, but Juxta, be ready.
There's dollar signs in your futures.
Oh boy. Shinta, thanks for calling the show. What do you want to talk about?
All right, so I literally just got done with the 5.4 MSQ because you need to be logged in this game at all times, which is why I took an awesome 4-month break and missed absolutely nothing. But with the MSQ, I had PTSD from the guns that I'm not going to pronounce her name because I think if you pronounce her name correctly, a wormhole will open up from hell. But I wanted to touch up on the two characters that are now going to lead into the new MSQ. Van Daniel, I don't really like his character type because he has big Mom said it's my turn to play the Xbox vibes, so I'm kind of worried about that. But I mean, maybe there's something little bit more deeper than me just thinking he's just a generic crazy person.
I mean, I got like weird Joker vibes from him.
But
there's
he's one we don't know much about, right? So
I think there's two interesting things about Fandango. The first interesting thing is that he has said multiple times in conversations with Xenos that he's playing a part. He's made several allusions to like it being a stage, and he's an actor. So this might be
Genesis,
a front. Or
he's Genesis from Crisis Core.
Listen,
they're actually not allowed. They're not allowed to use Genesis in a Final Fantasy game.
If he keeps reading scripts from a fucking play for like the entirety of the MSQ, I will uninstall.
In all seriousness, Genesis is based off a Japanese rock star. They've got his likeness until he gives permission. They're literally not allowed to use him in a Final Fantasy game.
You're talking about the character that really loves Loveless from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. He's literally not allowed to be used.
Hang on.
I didn't know that.
That's the character and the character model, not the specific motivations or
character type.
Yeah, the character archetype. All right,
I'm just saying they couldn't do a crossover or anything.
No. I'm not saying.
I didn't know that. Though. That's actually really interesting.
It's gacked. The Japanese rock star.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay because the other person is literally just Dollar Store Sephiroth. So we already got,
Yeah, that's true. But
like,
Sephiroth at home.
Like
Sephiroth is Khan's version of Sephiroth.
My friends hated me because I called them Dollar Store Sephiroth ever since Stormblood. And they were like, "You're wrong. He's deeper than that," and everything like that. But now at the end of the MSQ, he's talking about reunions and getting a new shiny katana blade, probably from an anime convention he'll travel to later.
Why do you guys keep making fun of my best friend? It's not cool.
Like, what? Weren't technically all of the main characters of Final Fantasy based on Gact, though, indirectly? I thought that they were.
Let's not get into that right now.
Listen, so the second thing that I think is interesting about Fandango is that he's one of a few villain archetypes that is like that could be a true nihilist. This might also be true of Xenos as well. But you know, when you think about his motivations, if he's not playing a part, or if it's not a put on, or you know, a misdirect for the player, then okay, he's actually like pretty psychotic, right? And there's been kind of a ramping up of the villains, specifically the Milkman from the weapons storyline. That fucking guy is maybe the most hateable villain in all of Final Fantasy XIV. So I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to be doing with both Fandango and with Xenos, because it does still feel like there has yet to be a payoff for that promise that they made during the Stormblood announcements, and that was like, you're really going to hate this guy. So with that not being paid off yet, it still could be it still could come into play somewhere down the road.
Well, I'm certainly hoping so, because I really just can't take the whole I'm pretty and I do swords well kind of thing, and I hate everything, which is...
It was refreshing, though, to see them on stage Friday night admit that they are aware of how people feel about Xenos.
Yes. Yes. At least they're not completely clueless. So they're not just going to be like, let's just make him exactly the same. So hopefully he'll get a little bit of development and growth, considering he has gotten none. So we'll see. I think it's definitely interesting. Shinta, man, thank you so much for the call. It was great hearing from you. Again, we are taking a few calls. We're going to take one more call before we wrap up here on Limit Break Radio. But, you know, it's been so great. It's been so much fun hearing from everyone and kind of, you know, stepping back into the saddle of Limit Break Radio. I thought, you know, we should probably talk about, you know, what's going on with the show, what's going on for the future of the show. What does this mean? You know, a Radiant rejoining. What does this particular event mean for Limit Break Radio? And the first thing is that not necessarily anything. As it is currently planned, this is a one-off. This is a reunion special so that we can talk about Endwalker, and so that we could share some of our enthusiasm with you guys at home, and you know, kind of bring the show back for a big kind of celebration, maybe in lieu of FanFest. And so, you know, while we have the ability to do that, you know, we thought that it would be fun to do that. And so I want to thank everyone that's joined us for tonight, and that has remembered Limit Break Radio and continued to maybe enjoy some of the content that remains out there. But it doesn't have to be a one-off. It doesn't necessarily have to be the only thing that ends up happening with Limit Break Radio, because I think that there's a real opportunity here. And one of the things that we always did with Limit Break Radio that I thought was necessary for us to do in terms of transparency with our audience was, you know, we would talk about the ways that you know, either your subscription dollars or your Patreon dollars or the money that you would donate to us through PayPal, we would often talk a lot about the way that money would be used. And so I just kind of want to float it out there, this idea that maybe, you know, not, and I'm not saying that there is a Patreon out there. I'm not saying that this is ready to go, that we're launching it tomorrow. This is a maybe. If there's enough people who are interested in the future of Limit Break Radio, that door is not entirely closed. Obviously, all four of us are at different stages in our life than we were at you know, when we did Limit Break Radio, the last run of Limit Break Radio. And so I think the first thing that we have to make very, very plain and be very, very honest about is that no matter what we do, it can't possibly be the same. Obviously, this show is very different from shows that we've done in the past. You know, and I think, and I heard from a lot of people in the run-up to doing this episode, we're so excited for Limit Break Radio to come back, and I can't wait to hear from Ascalia, and it's going to be great to have all of you guys on the same show again. And the reality is that it can't ever be the same Limit Break Radio. I think that's just a fact that all of us have to live with. And so I guess the question that I'm asking you all today is, would you be interested in a different version of Limit Break Radio? Would you be interested in listening to a show that wasn't every week, that wasn't 2 hours long, that wasn't maybe even necessarily solely about Final Fantasy XIV? I think that these are all things that we have discussed and considered in terms of what could we possibly do with this show that means so much to us and obviously means so much to you as well. So there's a couple of things that I think are really important to get out of the way. And the first thing is that most of the places, that we had content are down. The website is down. The podcast feed is down. The archive is down. So I think, if we were to do a Patreon, obviously the Patreon would have to be remarkably different. So I think if we did a Patreon, that maybe the first things that we would look at, the first couple of tiers that would be unlocked, would allow us to take some of our time and dedicate it to reviving the archive, reviving the podcast feed, maybe even reviving the website. I think it might be nice to even go the extra mile and redesign the website. These are all sort of things that we've talked about and considered. And there's one that we've sat around and talked about quite a bit, and one an idea that I've really enjoyed. And I've kind of made allusions to this during my time streaming here on the channel. But one of the ideas that we came across was, okay, Limit Break Radio, was centered around Final Fantasy XIV. Well, Limit Break Radio as a brand can branch out into other Final Fantasy games. And one of the things that we did back in the 11 days that got a huge response, and people really seemed to enjoy, not just when we did it, but for years after, I would hear from people how this was their favorite series of episodes, the Great Final Fantasy Debate. One of the things that I think we've considered is, it's been, what has it been, 8 years since we did the Great FF Debate? That was a long time ago.
I was still in college.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I've been out of college for 10 years now.
Yeah, that was LBR 1.0, and I think that was my second to last year at college. I mean, yeah, I was still up in Mount Pleasant when we did those episodes.
I think I vaguely remember listening to that, back in the day.
So, it
was fun.
And it was fun. Just, Tom 2 was also involved in that as well. And, one of the ideas was to, make it a mini series and dedicate an episode to each one of the Final Fantasies and make it more of like a YouTube centered show. That was one of the ideas that we had. So, and again, one of the important parts is I want to hear from all of you guys that are watching the show, whether you're watching it live or you're catching it on YouTube, which, by the way, YouTube right now is the de facto way to get our old content. With the website being down, I can't direct you anywhere else except to YouTube for some of our old content. But it's this question of I would be much more confident about bringing Limit Break Radio back if it was centered around FF14 or one of the online Final Fantasies, because that's our wheelhouse. That's where our wheelhouse has been. And so, if I'm being honest, my creative confidence was absolutely shaken by being laid off from Checkpoint. And I've definitely been a bit gun shy about launching my next project. And yes, some of that has to do with confidence. The other part of it is compensation. After being compensated for my work, you want to, in terms of the arc of your career, I think it would be a step backward to stop taking some sort of payment for the work that I was doing. So, I think that's another important element of it too. And then, a mini series is fine. A YouTube show, that's cool and that's fun and all, but what about Limit Break Radio? Like, what about actually bringing back a podcast? And I think, if we got the archive repaired and we got the podcast feed back up and a website going, and I've been playing FF14 and FF11 quite a bit. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak, obviously, for Strife or for Juxta or for Nika. But I think that I could probably find it in me to do some kind of podcast, some kind of show around online Final Fantasy games, whatever that means. So, obviously, a lot of these conversations are in the discussion phases. There's a lot, if I was to do a different Limit Break Radio, another Limit Break Radio, the question would be who would help host it with me. Dynamic is a huge thing. I've worked with these guys for so long and trust them absolutely with doing a show. I mean, we did very minimal prep for today, and I think we did a fucking phenomenal show. And that's rare. That's so rare and so special that, all of these things, all of these questions are going to have to be thought through. And I want to be able to, especially if Nika and Strife and Juxta are involved, I want to be able to compensate people for their time. I want just not my time to be compensated. I want their time to be compensated as well. So the question is that worth supporting, even though it's massively different from what has come before it? Possibly the most different, the most changes that Limit Break Radio has gone through in its entire lifetime. I need to float this question out there because I need some feedback. I need some people to tell me if this is something that you'd be interested in. And I've seen the chat room light up, and obviously there's, when a show like this comes back, there's always going to be a lot of really early enthusiasm. But I want you guys to take a minute and really think about that, and really, send me a DM on Twitter, or send me a message on Discord, and tell me genuinely if this is something that you think you could financially support, and whether or not the bumps in the road would be okay, because that's the other part of it. There's going to be some bumps. It's going to change. It's going to be different. It may not be the show that you remember, but hopefully it can still be a show that you love. So that's just sort of my little pitch for, hey, what if we did Patreon again? And what we would do with it, and how we would utilize those funds, and how we would move that project forward. So yeah, take some time, think about that, and reach out to me. But I've enjoyed this quite a bit, doing the show again, streaming on the channel again, hanging out with you guys again. It's been a blast. You guys are some of my best friends in the world, so it's absolutely fun to hang out and bullshit with you, even if it's maybe not always about FF14. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything to throw on top of that?
Hell yeah.
Thank you for that wonderful addition.
I'll just go real quick. I just want to say it's an honor to be invited to host with you guys and to talk about this stuff. It's honestly it's amazing, and I really appreciate being here.
Well, we appreciate having you, and we appreciate everyone who has checked out this grand reunion of Limit Break Radio. I think I want to take one more caller before we get out of here. And let's see. We haven't talked very much outside of ourselves about Sage, so let's talk to Sana Redwood. Let's talk to Sana. Hey, what's going on, Sana? Uh-oh. Maybe not.
Oh.
They moved back to on hold. Try one more time. Hey, Sana, how you doing? Nope. Well,
nope. Wait, now they're unmuted down there though.
Oh, well, let's try one up. Hey, Sana, how's it going?
Hey guys.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio.
It's been a long time, dudes.
It sure has. Sure has. Thanks for calling the show. What do you want to talk about?
Sage and the fact that they said that it could augment its abilities. Do you guys think that means cleric stance is coming back in a way, or what?
Based on their philosophy they gave in previous interviews, I doubt we'll see an exact replication of cleric stance, because I think they want to lean away from that meta a little bit. But I do think that there'll be some sort of combos or abilities to kind of augment their offensiveness. That's how I interpret it, at least.
Yeah, I don't know that cleric stance is ever coming back, to be honest with you.
Outside of Bazoja, actually. It's in Bazoja, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far.
Zach, what was the best part about playing a white mage?
Until Shadowbringers?
Let's go with
not
yes.
doing so good in the meta right now.
I'm trying to think, like, it's this one's going to be categorized as a barrier healer, like scholar, right? So did they specifically it was augmenting its offense or just its abilities in general? I don't remember.
It didn't say.
So like, then to me, I would lean more towards since they're specifically being like we're making pure healers and barrier heals. I have a feeling there's going to be like if you do things correctly, you can augment your barriers to be either different or stronger.
Yeah, perhaps filling up a gauge, and then when it hits a certain threshold,
that sounds right.
An ability's effect changes or becomes empowered.
Yeah, because we got rid of stance dancing in favor of gauges. So
yeah,
I mean, is there any class at all that utilizes stance dancing?
Technically, tanks have stances, but they don't dance them.
They don't dance anymore, like because they got rid of the attack and stance. It's only the tank stance now.
Yeah.
So
there's literally no reason to not run grit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a toggle, just in case your off tank's having trouble. That's
right. Yeah. It has more to it has to do with enmity generation than anything.
That's all it is. I think now, right? There's not even a negative to damage anymore like it used to be.
Strictly enmity.
So I don't even call it a stance.
The only reason to turn it off is if you're off tanking and your main tank is shitty, like has really shitty gear. That's it.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't.
When I was raiding, I was fine. Now
I don't think we're getting cleric stance back. But, I mean, very interesting, though, what they could end up doing with the job. I think that they're just going to end up nerfing Astrologian in favor of balancing between the two.
Because technically,
they already are.
I mean, they are, because Ast had the two different stances already, and now it's becoming a pure healer. So I have a feeling that's going away.
I mean, Astrologian, didn't they just go through an unfavorable rework, or at least some people thought it was unfavorable? Because they nerfed the way the cards work, right?
Yeah, that's accurate. And then they're away Noctil.
Yeah. So I mean, it all depends, I guess, for Astrologian players what you liked about Astrologian, but hopefully they do it justice in this conversion because it is going to play a lot differently.
You go.
I'm less worried about Sage, more worried about what they do to Astrologian to compensate.
Yeah, I think that however they end up balancing the other healers to kind of make room for Sage, I think is going to be a delicate balance. One of those four jobs, I guarantee you, when 6.0 comes out, is going to suck. Like, is going to be noticeably worse than the other three. And
the Dark Knight.
That's a sore spot. That's not cool.
You don't have to use fighting words when it comes to making your analogies. Thanks a lot. No, I'm kidding.
50%.
Don't worry, Nero. You're gonna switch to the Scythe user, so you're fine.
Yeah, I'll have another Dark Knight job to choose from. Sana, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right, we're going to take one more call. It's going to be very, very quick because I know Volkai has been hanging out and hanging on the line for a minute. Volkai, what's going on, my friend?
Welcome the fuck back.
Thank you very much. What's up? Is that all you wanted to say?
Well, I mean, we've gone past everything else I wanted to talk about, which was frankly a little bit of everything.
What are you most excited about in terms of Endwalker?
The end.
So not so much the walker then.
No, fuck walking. Walking is like no. Walking is that's a checkpoint thing. No, here we run, we sprint to the end,
and then we wait 2 more months for the next patch. Gotcha. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that sounds about right. No, I think that that's definitely something to be excited about, is to finally be wrapping up this long saga between Hydaelyn and Zodiark, which you think is kind of the underpinning for the entire world on which this game is based, but apparently we're going to be able to move past it, which I think is also very interesting.
Well, it is, and it has been for over a fucking decade. So yes. Moving on to something new is going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Volkai, thank you very much for the call. We appreciate it.
Hey, and just one more time, on behalf of everyone who's been listening to you guys for literally over a decade, welcome the fuck back.
Thank you very much.
Whatever form this takes, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Volkai. We appreciate it. Yeah. Have a good one. And before we go, I definitely want to pull in here Lloyd, our wonderfully loyal phone screener and a member of RNG&T. Make sure you check him out. Lloyd, man, what are you excited about for Endwalker?
I don't know, have content that I actually want to come back to play because I haven't played since Heaven's Ward.
Oh, wow. So,
whoa.
Okay. Now, granted, you have Stormblood to slog through, but has the praise for Shadow Walkers been like
Shadow
Walkers?
Whatever. Has that like penetrated your anus? No, I'm sorry. Your attention? Is that something that you want to do?
Since I've already watched like Kooky, you, and a few other people play through it, I have really no interest in like reliving all that shit again.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Once you've seen it, it's kind of like, all right.
Yeah, and like I might get a jump potion and start Endwalker like I did with Stormblood, and then like got into Stormblood like 2 or 3 days, and I'm like, I'm really over this shit already, and quit again.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
So maybe it just depends on what like the actual content is dropped out of it. I might play for a couple months and then set it down like I did again.
I mean, honestly, that's not the worst way to go. I mean, it is becoming very similar to WoW, where it's like, all right, let me sub up for the most recent content, and then my sub goes inactive. So,
well, that's exactly what I did with WoW. So,
yeah, that sounds about right. But Lloyd, thank you so much, man, for hanging out and for doing call screening for us today. Really appreciate it, man.
No worries.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for us for this special reunion episode. Before we go, I mean, do you guys? Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add? I this is weird. I forget how I wrapped up the show. I don't remember how we did it.
Other than I'm a Nero, keep listening.
I mean, yeah, I got that. That's
all
That's ready to go. That's in my back pocket. That's ready to go.
Roll the credits.
I don't remember either, really. I feel like you used to give like a little speech at the end that was always very like heartwarming. Even like we would yell at each other the whole show, and then Anira would give this like heartfelt speech at the end.
Yeah, it's called a compliment.
Oh, I got to come up with a heartfelt speech? Son of a bitch.
It's like a compliment sandwich for the podcast.
It wasn't enough that I figured, like, I put all of this shit together and I programmed the show and I made sure everyone was here and that you could all be heard, but I got to come up with something fucking heartwarming too? God damn it.
Okay, here's my heartwarming thing. I want to say thank you to all of the fans for joining us instead of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Seriously, we chose the maybe the night of the biggest competition, but you know what? It's FF14 fans. Do you think they really give a shit about foosball?
I mean, no, but they might have been checking out the superb owls that's going on right now.
Yeah, well, they are some fantastic
Commercials are
owls.
good too.
Juxta, you got anything for us?
I'm Juxta. Keep listening.
God damn it. All right, guys, that's going to be it for us. Remember, I do want you to reach out to me and let me know whether or not, the show coming back, Limit Break Radio coming back, if that's something that you would be willing to put your dollars behind and actually really get it back up and running. Thank you guys so much for checking out this reunion episode of Limit Break Radio. I can't thank you guys enough. I know that, there's so many streamers, and the FF14 streaming community has grown by leaps and bounds since we decided to step away from the spotlight. So it really means a lot to us that we're able to get your attention and get you back here and get you to hang out. Just your presence here means the world to us. So thank you guys so much. We can't thank you enough. For Nika Kyanian, Juxtaposition, Strife, my name's Aniro. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Aniro Grigori. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Opening music in this episode from Pirate Crab. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at piratecrab.bandcamp.com. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by the generous viewers of the Limit Break Radio Twitch channel. Thank you guys so much for your support. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.